All right, let's dive into something huge. We're going to explore a single idea born 400 years ago that literally split our world in two. And then we'll meet two brilliant thinkers who came up with incredible ways to try and piece it all back together. We all kind of take it for granted, right? This idea that there's a deep conflict between science and spirit. But what if that whole battle is built on a misunderstanding? What if the divide isn't actually out there in reality, but just in the way we've been taught to look at it? So, I want you to think of this as a kind of philosophical detective story. The victim, a unified, meaningful reality. We're going to travel back in time to find the scene of the crime, the origin of the split, and then we'll meet the two master detectives who offered a way to solve the case.
Okay, so the foundational era of the modern age, the big idea that kicked all this off, has a name. It's called the Cartesian Bifurcation. It was proposed by the philosopher René Descartes, and trust me, it changed absolutely everything.
See, Descartes was on a quest for absolute certainty, and to find it, he did something pretty radical. He performed a kind of philosophical surgery on the universe, neatly dividing it into two completely separate, mutually exclusive domains. So on one side, you have what he called res extensa, which is basically just extended stuff, form matter. Its only real properties are things you can measure: size, shape, location, motion. It's kind of inert, mechanical, a perfect clockwork machine for science to study. And then on the other side, completely separate is res cogitans, thinking stuff. That's the mind, the private inner world of thoughts, feelings, and values. Now, this move was incredibly powerful for the development of physics, no doubt about it. But it came at a massive cost. It left us with a disenchanted world, a universe of dead, meaningless matter out there, and an isolated, lonely ghost of a mind trapped in here, with no real way to connect to it. This is the fundamental split that our two thinkers tried to heal. So, let's bring in our first thinker, Alfred North Whitehead. He was actually a world-renowned mathematician who, later in life, turned his incredible mind to metaphysics to solve this exact problem. Let's check out his solution. Whitehead's diagnosis was just so elegant. He said that science had committed what he called the fallacy of misplaced concreteness. Now, that sounds complicated, but the idea is actually very simple. We mistook the abstract maps that science creates for the living, breathing territory of reality itself.
And this really gets to the heart of it. Science describes a world of particles in motion, a silent, colorless, valueless dance of atoms. But what's our actual concrete reality? It's a world that's vibrant, it's buzzing with color, sound, beauty, purpose. For Whitehead, the redness of a sunset isn't just some wavelength hitting your retina and getting processed by your brain. No, it's a real feature of the event itself. Science just abstracts it away.
So what was Whitehead's solution? It was radical. He said, let's just get rid of the whole idea of static matter. For him, the universe isn't made of things at all. It's made of dynamic, experiential events that he called actual occasions. Seriously, even an electron isn't a tiny little ball, it's a pulse of becoming. And every single one of these actual occasions heals Descartes' split. It starts with a physical pole, where it literally feels or prehends the past that's led up to it. Then, its mental pole considers the future possibilities, what it could become. And finally, it makes a creative decision and becomes a new concrete moment. You see, the physical and the mental are just two sides of the same coin, one unified process. And when you look at the world this way, it completely re-enchants it. If all of reality is made of little moments of feeling, then our consciousness isn't some bizarre fluke, it's just a really complex, high-grade version of something that's present in every single event. The spiritual dimension for Whitehead isn't some king on a throne, but an internal lure pulling the universe toward beauty and creativity, feeling and remembering everything that happens. Okay, now for our second thinker, Wolfgang Smith. He was also a physicist and a philosopher, but he takes a very different path back to wholeness. He wants to restore a more classical, hierarchical vision of what reality is. Smith's key move is to make a crucial distinction. There's the corporeal world. That's the world we actually experience with our senses. The color, the texture, the holistic form of a tree. Smith says this is fully real and objective. Then there's the physical world. That's the quantitative abstraction that physics studies, the particles, the fields. The big mistake of modernity, Smith argues, was believing this abstract physical world was the only real thing, and that a rich, experienced world was just a subjective illusion. Now, to connect these worlds, Smith brings back an ancient idea called vertical causation. This isn't the normal horizontal A causes B domino effect we're used to from physics. This is about a higher level of reality simultaneously giving form to a lower level. Think of the timeless, intelligible form of treeness, causing a bunch of physical atoms to actually be a tree, right here, right now. Probably the best way to picture Smith's worldview is this. Reality isn't flat, it's a multi-storied building. The physical world of particles that science studies, that's just the basement. It's real, it's important, but it's just the foundation. Above it is the corporeal world we perceive, and higher still are the intelligible and spiritual realms that give form and meaning to everything below them. In Smith's model, the universe is transformed from a chaos of particles back into a meaningful cosmos. Every object we see becomes an icon or a theophany, a manifestation that points to a higher reality. Science is still honored. It's just put in its proper place. It does a great job describing the basement, but it can't tell you about the whole building. And just like that, the conflict with spirituality pretty much dissolves. So, we've just walked through two incredibly profound solutions to the very same problem. Let's put them side by side now and really see what their combined vision can offer us as we try to heal our own modern minds. You can see right away how different their strategies are. Whitehead is all about process and dynamism. His philosophy feels very modern. Smith reaches back to a classical, hierarchical model. For Whitehead, the fundamental building block is the actual occasion, that pulse of experience. For Smith, it's the corporeal object, the whole thing we actually perceive. Both of them lead to powerful spiritual visions, but one is eminent and unfolding, while the other is transcendent and layered. And here's maybe the best way to think about it. Whitehead gives us a kind of horizontal healing. He injects experience and value back into every single moment of the cosmic process as it flows through time. Smith, on the other hand, provides a vertical healing. He restacks the lost dimensions of reality, restoring the cosmos to its full height, depth, and meaning. But here's the crucial point. Despite their different paths, Whitehead and Smith both lead us to the same stunning conclusion. The conflict between science and spirit was never a scientific discovery. It was a philosophical invention. It was the direct result of a choice, a mistake. The mistake of confusing the abstract map for the living, breathing territory of reality. And that leaves us with one final, and I think vital, question. If the split can actually be healed, if we can really move beyond this 400-year-old error, then what comes next? What kind of science, what kind of culture, and really, what kind of lives become possible in a world that is finally made whole again?